I think it is now recording. Yay! All right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our live panel discussion on how to access your natural power as a classic builder. So you can see our beautiful panel here that is going to go through the discussion. So first of all, I want to welcome each and every one of you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy this. If you have any questions, go ahead and type in the chat. At the end, we will have a live question and answer, so you can raise your hand, and then we'll see if we can unmute you. We've been trying to do this. This is a new system. We usually use GoToWebinar and not Zoom. So this is a bit of an experiment here in seeing how it all works. So patience as we figure out the technical side of things. So what I'd like to do to get started is first give you a big welcome, and I want to have each of our panelists introduce themselves. Then I'm going to do a little sort of introduction of what we're going to be talking about today, and then we'll jump into our discussion. So let's just start by doing a quick introduction of each one of our panelists, and I'm just going to go down the line as I see them listed here on my panel. So let's start with Kris. Hello, Kris. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me, Karen. I appreciate it. What would you like to know? My name, rank, serial number?
Yes, yeah. So yeah, if you could just introduce yourself, how much you have studied so far,
Yeah.
BG5, and also where you live, where you're from, and anything that you want to share as far as what you've gotten out of, being a part of BG5, and we'll get more into the discussion a little bit later. But just an introduction, just saying a little bit about you and your background.
Cool. Awesome. Kris Prochaska. I live in Bend, Oregon in the United States. And I used to be a therapist. I was a psychotherapist for a number of years. And as I've shared with Karen and Nathalie and some of my other classmates, I had this realization that we couldn't make someone all right by focusing on what's wrong. But I was really good at being able to figure out what was wrong with people, but not so good at what's right about them. And about that time, I discovered human design. It came across my path. It found me. We found each other, and I started studying it. That was back in, I think, 2012. And so dove right in and started using human design with my clients and my consulting clients. And more recently, I'm in the certification program through BG5 Business Institute, and I love it. It is amazing. I thought, oh, it's so complicated. I don't want to learn more because I don't want to overcomplicate it for my clients. And actually, the opposite is true. I've found that in many ways, yes, I'm learning way more information, but the depth and the ability to look at and analyze and be present with designs in a totally fresh and simple way. It's really beautiful. So I'm glad you're all here. Welcome. Assume you're a classic builder as well, and this can be a great discussion.
Ooh, yeah, wonderful. Thank you and welcome, Kris. Great to have you on our panel.
Thank you.
And Sachiko.
Hi. Hello, everyone. I'm Sachiko Goto from Japan. I'm excited to be here, but at the same time, I'm freaking out because I am still practicing speaking English, and it is a big challenge for me to be here as a paneler. Anyways, I have been studying human design system for 7 years now, and I am a certified human design analyst, LYD guide, and Rave ABC teacher.
Hmm.
I started to learn BG5 since 2017, and I have just completed the final semester of BG5 certification. BG5 consultant certification course. And I love human design and BG5. I have a strong sense that BG5 will help many, many people all over the world in their working situations, and uh, to realize their life work to make money happily. And my intention and goal is to bring this information to Japanese people uh, who don't understand English well, and to support them to find their true nature, to live out their uniqueness and their life purpose. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yay. I'm so excited to have you, Sachiko, and thank you. I know it's, especially with English not being your first language, it can be a bit intimidating. So I'm very proud of you for stepping up and being a part of the panel, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yes. And Marije, welcome.
Thank you. So my name is Marije Miller, and I came to human design, in 2004. It's been a while. Sorry about that. I've been coaching for a long time, and I came to human design because people started talking about it, and was very interested in experiencing what it was all about. And I was blown away for myself. I had huge experiences. Hopefully I'll be able to share a little bit about that in a little bit. But it totally changed my life. And I've been using it since with my clients. And then BG5 came along, which made it even more practical and even more accessible for people, is what I found. Kris, I love how you said how it made it even simpler to be able to express to people what is really going on for them, and who they really are, and how they can use their energy best in their work. So I did BG5 program certified last year and have been using it with my clients, and it's just phenomenal. It's so empowering for people to get an idea of how they can actually move best through their lives, and how they make decisions easier, how they can get out of the maelstrom of chaos of life and see what is really important for them, and then just blow themselves and me just away with the amazing results that they create. It's been such a great tool to have. So I'm really thrilled to be here and be able to share about it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you, Marije, and thank you for being a part of this panel, and excited for what you have to share. So thank you. And Nathalie.
Yay. Hi, yes, I'm from the Netherlands, and I live in Amsterdam. I'm with the BG5 Institute for about 3 years, and I'm into human design for about 5 years. And I have my own coaching practice in BG5 here in the Netherlands, as well as I'm a teacher for the BG5 Institute Foundation course. Well, what can I say? I mean, everything everyone shared, I totally feel the same. Some of my big life questions that I had due to being falling into depression several times in my work environment really got answered by BG5, and gave me such a relief and confirmation on how my system operates. And it's just, brilliant information. And I totally share also what Marije said, that it's just mind-blowing how you can help your clients with it. And I just want this to get out into the world in a big way. So I hope to be the one to introduce it into the Netherlands, which hopefully will happen in a few years' time. So
Wonderful. Yay. Well, thank you, Nathalie. And Nathalie has been assisting me for the last few years as well with the BG5 Business Institute. And she's been incredible. And she's incredible as an instructor as well. So thank you so much, Nathalie. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Karen Sherwood. I am the Director of Training and Educational Development here at the BG5 Business Institute. And I am also the trainer for the BG5 certification, as well as OC16, as well as the Profit Potential workshops. So you'll see me a lot. Anyway, welcome, everyone.
She's an amazing teacher as well.
Thank you. So to get things kicked off here, we want to see also who we have here joining us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a poll. Now, this is the first time I've used this, so I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work, but I'm going to, give me a second. I'm going to launch this poll. And with the poll, you should see the poll, and it's going to ask you what your career type is. So we want to get a sense of who is currently joining us and get a sense of how many of the different types we have here today. So again, you can be a classic builder. Now, if you're not familiar with BG5 terms, the classic builder is the generator in human design terms. The express builder is the manifesting generator in human design terms. Advisors, that's our projectors in human design terms. Innovators are our manifestors in human design terms, and the evaluator are our reflectors in human design terms. Or you may not know what your career type is, and you can do that as well. So I'm going to give you one more minute here. So again, if you can see the poll, go ahead and select what your career type is. All right. Looks like we have just about everyone. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. And just so you can see, I think you can see what the poll says. Whoop. So you can see it looks like we have 57% of you who are classic builders. We have 19% of you who are express builders. So even if you're an express builder, this is also going to, our discussion's going to help you as well today. And then we have 19% who are advisors, and we have an evaluator here as well. So we have 5% who are an evaluator. So welcome. Great to have you all here. And if you are a classic builder or express builder, this is really going to support you in, again, just hearing from other builders, and especially those that are classic builders, about how to respond, what the experience is of being a classic builder. Now, if you're an advisor or an evaluator, if we have any innovators joining us, this is an opportunity to learn more about how the classic builder operates. And the more that we can learn about and work with each other, the more harmony is possible as well. So I have one more poll here as well. And this poll is about experience. So I'm just curious to find out, how familiar are you with BG5? So I'm going to go ahead and launch this poll here as well. So are you new to human design and BG5? Have you done a lot of self-study around human design and BG5? Have you taken some BG5 or human design courses, but are not yet certified? And the last one is that you're a human design guide, an analyst, or a BG5 consultant, just to kind of get a sense of who we have here as well. And if you're new or if you're fairly experienced. And you can see even with our panel, when we introduced our panel, we have everything from instructors to BG5 consultants to those that are still about to get certified and those that are still in the process of being certified. So just to kind of get a sense of who we have here. So I'll give you one more moment. And again, you should see the panel, and go ahead and just put in where you are at. Awesome. Well, it looks like we have just about everyone here. So I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. And if you take a look at the results, it looks like there is 36% that are new to human design. So this will be a great introduction and kind of understanding at least one of the career types and how they operate. There is about 32% that have done some self-study or a lot of self-study around human design, about 18% that have taken some human design courses, and about 14% that are guides or analysts or a consultant. Awesome. Cool. And this is really nice because we have really a wide range of experience. And one of the things that we're going to do at the end of this webinar is we're going to open it up. So if you have questions, actually, if you have questions along the way as well, please feel free to type them into to the chat. So especially as we're talking with the different panelists and there's something that you want to comment on or something that you want to specifically ask them a question about, you can do that as well. Well, awesome. Yay. All right. So I just want to go through a couple different things just as an introduction as far as what we're going to be taking a look at today. And this is especially for those of you who are new to human design or BG5. Now, when we're taking a look at human design and BG5, there are specifically 4 different types. And in BG5, we call them the innovators, the builders, the advisors, and the evaluators. So just so that you get an idea of the role, especially in business, the role of each of these different types. When we take a look at the innovators, we can see that innovators are 8% of the population, and innovators are here to get things started. They're all about impact. That's what the innovator brings. Then we have the builders. Builders are what we're going to be taking a look at today. And builders provide the energy to move things along. So what we provide as builders, I'm a classic builder myself, is energy. And you can see that there's actually 2 types of builders. There's express builders and classic builders. What we're going to be taking a look at today is the classic builder. So that's where we're really going to focus, but much of what we're going to talk about today also applies to the express builders as well. You can see between the express builder and the classic builder, that makes up 70% of the population. So you can see that the majority of the population are builders. Then at the very top, you see we have 21% of the population who are advisors. And advisors are here to guide the process. And they're here to lead, guide the process, and to be recognized, and to recognize others. So it's about recognition for the advisors. And then we have the evaluators, and we're very, very honored to have an evaluator here joining us. So evaluators tell us how well things are going or not. So their role is really objectivity. So really being able to see the big picture and seeing what's healthy and what's not healthy, both in a group, an organization, but also in the world in general. All right, so those are the 4 career types. What we are focusing on today is the classic builder. Now, we have, there is a difference between the classic builder and the express builder. And you can see this here. We're going to be focusing on the classic builder. And when you're a classic builder, you get things done in a sort of step-by-step process. Now, as you can see, we have the tortoise. It's sort of like the difference between the tortoise and the hare. So with the classic builder, you are here to get the job done through a step-by-step process. Kind of like the tortoise, step by step by step. So as a classic builder, when your work is satisfied, you master and perfect the process of bringing inspiration into reality. Now, in our last workshop or last webinar, we took a look at the express builder. And the express builder is here to get the job done quickly and efficiently. So the classic builder with the That should be Express Builder. With the Express Builder, when your work is satisfying, you can quickly and efficiently bring inspiration into reality. So the major difference between the Classic Builder and the Express Builder is that the Classic Builder, which we're going to be taking a look at today, does things in a step-by-step way, versus the Express Builder, who can go very quickly from response to manifestation, but sometimes they skip steps, or sometimes they can get off track. Is part of the pitfalls for the Express Builder. For the Classic Builder, once we get started on something, sometimes it's hard for us to change gears. So both of them have their benefits, and there's also challenges as well. So just so that you can kind of get a sense of what the difference is between the Classic Builder and the Express Builder. So we are going to now start our panel discussion so that we can get a sense from each of our panelists answers to these different questions. So we're going to start things off by asking our panelists, as a Classic Builder, what aspect of understanding your BG5 career type has helped you the most? So again, for all of our panelists, as a Classic Builder, what aspect of understanding your BG5 career type has helped you the most? And whoever would like to get started, you can just show your video. And I'm also going to show each person's design as well, so that you can actually see their career design also. So who would like to start? Marije.
Sure. So for me, what really made the biggest difference was to understand the whole gut response and knowing how my energy works best, because I have a very quick mind, and it can take over and tell me all those amazing things that I should be doing. And instead, when I started following my own response, what I find is there is so much more ease in my day. Things just flow. Now, it doesn't mean that happens all the time, because I have a lot of pressure. As you can see, my root at the bottom and my head at the very top, they're both open. So I have a lot of pressure coming in, and that pressure can make me run through my weekend like there is no tomorrow. And then at the end of the weekend, I can feel really exhausted. And that's a definite sign that I did not follow my real flow. But when I recognize that, when I am on my track and I just feel that hurried feeling inside, it's a real sign for me that I need to pause and just check in with my energy. What is my energy available for? What is my gut response, that sacral response, actually saying yes to? And for me, that is actually a feeling of moving my body forward. It feels like I'm moving forward. Oh, Seren, thank you. That's great. Yes, I just had my birthday a couple of days ago. So when I feel my body move forward, that is a sign for me that that is the right thing to get engaged with at that moment. I hope that answered the question, Karen?
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Marije. Beautiful. All right. And who would like to share? Just as a reminder, again, our question is, as a Classic Builder, what aspect of understanding your BG5 career type has helped you the most? So let's go to Kris.
It's hard to just pinpoint one, but I think the waiting to respond has been just so essential, because I wrote that article about baseball and how there's all these balls coming at us all the time. And as a builder, Classic Builder, responding, and if we were smacking every pitch that came our way, not just from the pitcher, but from everywhere around us, we get distracted. And and then don't have the energy to do the thing that we're actually really called to do. And so that's been hugely helpful to me, is when I start to, I call it, get into agenda girl mode or action Jackson mode. And I have this huge long list of to-dos. What I do now is, instead, because I've had days, maybe some of you can relate to this, where I have this long list of, I got to get all this stuff done, and they all seem like the highest priority. And if I just keep going, okay, I'm going down the list, I'm going to make this happen, I'm initiating, right? What happens is I'm extremely busy throughout the day, but at the end of the day, I've got nothing done, like zero, almost zero productivity. It's like super busy, but nothing gets done. And that's when I know I'm off track, and when I've been initiating and not responding. So now what I do is I'll look at my to-do list and I'll scan it, and I'll notice energetically what pops for me. Of course, I'm a gut person, so it's always in the moment. I don't have to wait for more information or for clarity. So for me, this works well. And I just notice what feels lightest. And oftentimes, if it's to make a phone call or to send an email or whatever, I notice that energetically that person tends to be available. It's like the perfect time. It works so much better. So maybe I'm not doing as many things during the day, but I'm much more productive because I'm noticing what is calling me in the moment and responding to that. So that's been really, really helpful for me.
Wonderful. And one of the things that you can see, I'm coordinating this whole here, hold on. There we go. And here's one of the things that both Marije and Kris brought up, which is really, especially for those of you who are brand new to human design and BG5, one of the things that makes a classic builder classic builder, and what and this is actually true for the express builder as well, is this not going out and making things happen, but waiting to respond. And both Marije and Kris both talked about how important it is, and it's one of the biggest things that's made the biggest difference for them, is learning what this whole ability to respond is all about. Because it's not about making things happen. And Kris, I'm sure you can relate to this too. I know for myself, I'm also a classic builder as well, that I always tried to force and always tried to make things happen. And then I would end up getting frustrated because nothing was working the way I wanted it to work. Mm-hmm. And life is so much more peaceful realizing that I don't have to force it. I don't have to make it happen. It's really that waiting for things to come to you so you have that ability to respond.
Exactly. And I think it comes into trusting that the universe has our back and that the right things will come to us at the right time. And when we're waiting for them, they show up, and we have the energy that's available to contribute to it. And when I don't have my energy available, it's a mess. It's just so frustrating.
Exactly. And also, for all of you who are listening, if you have not read Kris's article, I highly recommend that you go to the BG5 Business Institute and go to blogs and it's I forgot the exact title.
Like BG5 baseball,
yes.
how to live and play in alignment with your design, something like that.
Yes. Yeah. So BG5 baseball, Kris wrote an amazing article really relating the different career types to different positions in baseball. And it really gives you a sense of how all of the types are really designed to work together. And that's part of what BG5 is all about, is learning how we work together. How we work together in business, how we work together in groups and organizations. So understanding how we work together. And so Kris wrote a brilliant article using baseball as an analogy to really give you a flavor and a sense of how all the different career types work together. So
Sure.
us as express builders and classic builders are really the players on the field. Kris mentioned this at the very beginning, like the batter, it's not about, if he's just swinging the bat all over the place, it's not going to work. He has to wait. He has to wait. He has to wait. He has to wait for the perfect pitch, to swing the ball, to hit it out of the park. And so, part of being a classic builder is all about waiting and waiting to respond.
Which can feel incredibly painful and awkward and frustrating because we want to do something with all that energy, right?
Yep, exactly.
So go bake a cake, go do something, go for a walk.
Yeah, wonderful, beautiful. Thank you, Kris. And I think, Nathalie, you had something as well. So let me pull your chart up.
Yeah, this is me. Quite similar to Kris, but a bit different. Yeah, so the question was again?
Yes. The question is, what has made the most difference for you in your life personally by knowing what your career type is?
Exactly. So I totally can echo what Marije and Kris said, but in addition to that, so the response, I always use the response intuitively, but to be able to trust it makes such a big difference to really get into the flow. And the other thing I really found very good to know and to be able to live by is that we do it in a step-by-step process. Because sometimes I see people around me, like express builders or innovators, and they just go and boom, and the business is there already. For instance, since I was about to set up my own business, and it just didn't work. So I started my own business like, okay, I have to do something. And I did it, and didn't work out, had to let it go. And now a few years later I started it again, but more in flow, and being able to, as Kris beautifully said, trust in the universe, because the universe got her back, to be able to trust that it will build, and that it will come step by step by step. And it does evolve like that. So if you only can, trust in the universe, and and then what makes the biggest difference is knowing about my type and about my decision-making strategy, and then being able to trust it, because it's so weird in a sense to not trust your mind but trust your body. But once you have had experience that it works that way, you can ease into it, and there's no reasoning to it. My mind cannot grasp how my body knows, but being able to trust that makes it possible to go into the flow.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, and here's something, especially for those of you who are new to human design and BG5. Really, the keys to unlocking your design, as Nathalie was just saying, is really understanding how your type works and also trusting your decision-making strategy. And I love what you said, Nathalie, about how it really allows you to just relax and to trust. And, most of us have been trained that how we make decisions is in our mind. And this is the worst place to make decisions. So if you are both a classic builder or an express builder, it really starts in the gut. So all of us have this sort of response, and with it comes a responsibility, if you will. But it's this response. So it's really following the feelings in your body versus what you're thinking in your head. And so I love what you said, Nathalie, is that, you naturally, followed your gut, but you didn't really trust it. Because you can have a gut response and then your mind goes, oh, well, maybe not. Oh, I really shouldn't. Or, oh, yeah, I really should. And your mind can make up all of these different stories of why you should or why you shouldn't. And then it blurs everything. But when you follow your gut So just so you can see the two decision-making strategies, so you can see for Nathalie, this is following her gut. So this is called the energy resource. This is the function of the energy resource. This is where your energy comes from. And so it's really about following her gut. For me, for example, I do have, and Marije as well, we have the follow our gut, but we also have, this is emotional intelligence. So we also have to wait for clarity as well. So it's this combination of following your gut and then also this waiting for clarity. So there's only two decision-making strategies if you are a classic builder or an express builder. It's either following your gut or it's following your gut, but then waiting for clarity, because you can't trust your gut in the moment. So you have to wait for clarity. So those are the two decision-making strategies, just to point that out. So those are really the keys to really unlocking your design. So again, Nathalie, thank you. Thank you very much. And Sachiko.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So when I heard about my type, I thought, wow, it is okay for me to do whatever I love. You know, I was so happy and see my chart. Many functions are colored in. So I have very strong identity maybe. So I felt like I got an approval to be satisfied with doing what I love, because I was thinking that doing what I love was selfish and I shouldn't do what I love. And I thought I had to do the same thing and do the same way with others do. And it I was losing my power maybe. But since I've been experimenting this for 7 years now, it became very clear to me that my gut response is much, much cleverer about my life than my mind. And all the energy comes from doing what I love. Doesn't know the best answer for me, for myself. So if I had a clear gut response that is yes to something, I follow it even if my mind doesn't agree with it. I have many experience that ignoring my mind and following my gut response resulted in a wonderful outcome that I have never expected. And I also experienced vice versa. So from my own experience, I know making decisions from mind is a waste of time and energy. Now I stick into my gut response and allow me to do whatever I love. So I am very satisfied with my work and my life.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I love this. This is so key. I love what Sachiko just said, because this is one of the keys for classic builders. This is also true for express builders as well, is doing what you love and loving what you do. It is really the key to unlocking your entire design. And I think, Sachiko, you were right on with, this is what happens, I think, with a lot of people, is that, you feel like it's selfish, to do what you love, because everyone else is, in this drudgery of their job and, it's work and it's, but, if you are not using your energy properly, that's where sickness, that's where illness comes from. And so really, when we are doing what we love and loving what we do, there's a healthy energy that, that also helps provide for our own health mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And so it really is so key. If you are a classic or an express builder, doing what you love and loving what you do is key. So I love that you brought that forth, Sachiko, because it is so, so important. And again, that talking about really trusting your gut and getting out of your head. So again, that's one of the other keys is, really allowing and both Nathalie and Marije and Kris also mentioned this, really being able to trust that things will come to you. So one of the things to understand about builders, both classic and express builders, are we're sort of like magnets, if you will. So we naturally attract people and opportunities and situations to us. We don't have to go out and make it happen, but we do have to wait. And oftentimes we have blinders that we can't even see, literally opportunities that are right in front of our face. Because we're so caught up in, the mind and it should be like this. And I don't want to be selfish and I don't want to, so that we can't really see literally those opportunities that are right in front of you. And I love what you said, Sachiko, is that when you really wait, and you allow life to come to you, that's where the magic happens. Yeah. Beautifully shared. Thank you so much, Sachiko.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right. So, any questions from our participants so far? So just wanted to see if you had any particular questions yet for any of our panelists. So if you do have questions, please feel free to type them in as well. Yes, Kris.
Karen, do you see that one? It's how much time does it usually take for the emotional beings to find clarity?
Very good question.
That's not me. I know I work with my clients that way, but I think it'd probably be better if you or Marije answered that.
Yes. Do you want to start, Marije?
Sure. That's a really powerful question because it really depends. It depends on so many different things. So there's the quick things on, where do you want to go for dinner? Those are much easier. If I'm talking about myself, those are much easier. I follow my gut response and then I do feel into my feeling around it. And, that's an easy one to get to. When it's a big decision, like when my husband and I, before we got married and he asked me to marry him, my first response was, yes, sounds great. And then I was like, but ask again later because I really need to feel through this. And this went on for about a couple months before I had a full yes. And then we had set a date and it didn't feel right for me. So I had to come back to when is the real time for me to actually step into this marriage? And that took another 4 or 5 months before I got that clarity. So that's how it is for me. Now, when I work with clients, it's the same thing. When I work on a business issue with my clients, it takes a while for them to first get their gut response and get what their energy is ready for, and then get into that emotional experience because they'll be like, oh, yes, this is great. And I'm thinking, well, you're probably on the high end of your wave right now. You're probably really excited, and really excited is great, but you may not be asking the right questions. So what would it be like if we would just sit with this for a little bit? And so it's a hard thing to say, to really put a time limit on it, but this is kind of the process that I'm noticing works for me and for the clients that I've been working with. I hope that helps.
Yeah, beautiful. Really beautiful. And I think, you're absolutely right. As, it does take time. And the timing can be whatever. It can be, and it depending on the decision. I mean, getting married is a big decision. Moving is a big decision. Those things take longer versus just what you were saying at the very beginning is, if it's what you're going to have for dinner, that's, it's a slightly different question. So it all depends. And here's one of the things to realize about the why you have to wait for clarity and what clarity sort of feels like as well. So if you have emotional intelligence defined, which is right here, if you have emotional intelligence defined, it means that your emotions operate in waves. So sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. When you're up, everything can be a yes. And when you're down, everything can be a no. And so you cannot trust your gut in the moment because, again, if you're emotionally high, you can say yes. And I can't tell you how many thousands of dollars I have spent at self-help seminars and workshops where they get you on this emotional high and then they sell you on everything. And I usually bought everything just for the next day going, why did I do that? So it really is important to wait for clarity. And again, depending on what the decision is, that's what that'll determine how long you wait. So there's no set amount of time. I just went through a very interesting experience just this week. So my husband and I, there was a house that we were looking at, and we're like, oh, maybe we should buy that house. And we got really excited about it. And the original gut response was, yes, let's do it. But what waiting over time does is it gives you information that you may not be aware of at that time. And so, we kind of sat through it. He's emotional as well. So we kind of sat through it. We felt through it. We went through, I'm serious. We went through way high, way low. We were all over the place. And in the end, we came to clarity, and the clarity was no, it's not the right time. And it's not the right place. So if we had just followed the gut, we would have put an offer in right away. But it wasn't, as we sat with it, we realized that it wasn't really correct. And when you get clarity, for this is how clarity feels for me, clarity is sort of like this calm, cool confidence. So if you are being thrown around by the waves of emotions and you're up and you're down and you're not quite sure and you're nervous, that's not the right time to make a decision. The right time to make a decision is when, yes, there's just this calm, clear clarity. Do you also feel that, Marije, as well?
Sorry. Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's not a huge energy attached to it at that moment anymore.
Yes, exactly. So hopefully that answered your question. Beautiful. Are there any other questions from our participants? And I have we'll go through a couple more questions here. This is fun. I'm just looked at the time and surprised at how quickly the time is going by. But any other questions, Nathalie or Kris, that you see in the panel?
So
yes.
There is another question from Jay. Karen, does the emotional high, the yes, get amplified by having the gate 29?
So does it get amplified by having the 29? So in having the 29, this is about, the 29 is about saying yes. And so one of the things about having the 29 is it's really, really important that you say yes to the right thing. And because if you don't, it starts this whole cycle, and it's almost like you can't get out until you get to the end of the cycle. So it's really important with the 29, to say yes to the right things. So I don't know if quote unquote amplified is the right word. One of the things that this is one of the things that we take a look at in the BG5 Foundation course is we take a look at each of the individual functions, we take a look at each of the individual traits, and we take a look at each of the individual strengths. And depending on, what you have activated. So for example, this is a strength here that I have, the 59-6. This is the strength of interaction. So some of the terminology also is a bit different in BG5 terms as well. So taking a look at basically how you make decisions also based on how your gut response works and how it's connected. For example, if it's for me, it's connected directly to my emotional intelligence. So these two work hand in hand, the gut response, and waiting for emotional clarity. Depending on your design, there can be, different nuances on how that operates and how that works. So I don't know if that answered your question, but hopefully it's given you some insight. And again, that's one of the beautiful things about, especially the certification is if you would like to work with clients, but if you just want to get this and understand it at a deeper level for yourself, the foundation course really allows you to, again, learn what all of this means and see how it really applies to yourself, to really tap into, your own personal power, understanding what it is to be whatever type you happen to be, and then how to utilize those strengths that you have within your design. Wonderful. All right, let's ask another question here. So when you are a builder, and I realized I forgot to to change out the bottom as well. That should be classic builder also. So one of the things as both a classic and express builder there are signposts that let you know when you are on track and when you are off track. So what I'd like to ask the panel now is those two signposts, both for the classic and express builder, are satisfaction when you're on track and frustration when you are off track. So what I'd like to ask the panelists is how have you utilized or how have you been present, or how do you feel when things are, how do you recognize satisfaction? So as a classic builder, how do you experience satisfaction? And also as a classic builder, how do you experience frustration? So taking a look and again, explaining how does that feel for you? How do you experience frustration and satisfaction? And how does that keep you on track, or how does that help you when you are off track? Yes, Kris.
Frustration feels it. It feels. I feel edgy. I feel. I'm crabby. I feel crunchy inside. I feel like my energy is really staticky. It's like it wants to go somewhere and I'm trying to force it to go somewhere. Those are the feelings that it's like in my body. And I just feel edgy inside. That's how I experience that frustration. And satisfaction feels like an all over full body hug. That is like the most calm, peace, serene. It's like my energy just, you pet an animal, a cat or something, and they're just smooth. That's what it feels like. I'm just like, Whereas the other way feels like I'm being pet. My fur is going the wrong way. It just feels like my whole system goes, like and I have that sound from a very deep guttural place because it feels like I moved with the flow of the universe and everything, and my energy went somewhere and it came back maybe not in the direct channel, but it came back from some other place, and it just calmed and soothed. So it fed me and energized, and yet at the same time feels very soothing. And like I honestly have this sensation of I could die right in this moment. I'd be totally happy. Like that's the feeling when I get satisfaction in my body.
So when you are frustrated, how do you get yourself back on track?
Okay, great question. So I will pause when I start to feel like I'm pushing, like Sisyphus, pushing that boulder up the hill. So there's a couple things that I'll notice. One is that sometimes energetically, it's almost as if a force field is around whatever it is that I'm trying to push towards. I'm pretty sensitive energetically. You can see I have a lot of open functions there. So it's almost like I perceive this, that I'm trying to force it and something's not letting me. So that's my first indicator. Or sometimes it's, a couple minutes or a couple hours later. But there's just definitely this feeling like I can't quite move that way. What's going on? I usually get frustrated when I don't pay attention to that sign. And that's where my mind starts to get in there and say, come on, keep pushing forward. And I hear all these constructs in my head. Well, you're out of integrity if you don't do it in this time. And you said you would do it and you're supposed to be, blah, blah, blah. Like all of these constructs in my mind. That's usually where the frustration really shows up for me. It becomes mental. But that's usually after I've had this physical awareness that I'm trying to do something before I'm really called into action to do it. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah. Beautiful example. Thank you, Kris. Yeah. Awesome. Yes. And Sachiko, would you like to share a little bit about what you feel with frustration and satisfaction, and then when you are frustrated, how do you get back on track?
Yes. I don't want to feel frustration, and when I was young, I was so frustrated and irritated to many things, and so I was like an angry kid. So, and the frustration, it is telling me misuse of my energy, and it feels like I am poisoning my body. Yeah, and so when I feel frustration now, I know I am using my energy with wrong way. So I stop doing what I do, and wait to see other gut response come, and satisfaction is happiness to me. It is a great reward of using my energy correctly. So it is important for me to feel satisfaction. It's to me, it feels the sweetest thing in the world. Yeah. So sorry, I don't know how to explain this in English, but
yeah, beautifully said, Sachiko, and it really is that, notice it. I like what you said about how when you're feeling the frustration, it's almost like you almost feel like it's poisoning your body in a way. When you're off track. Versus the satisfaction of happiness. And it goes right along with what you said at the very beginning, in how important it is to do what you love and love what you do. If you're not doing what you love and loving what you do, it's going to lead to frustration. And I want you to think about and this is for everyone, think about all yourself and also all the people in the workplace who are frustrated doing what they're doing. They don't really like what they're doing. And, just being able to know that, it's okay to do what you love and love what you do, because that's what brings you satisfaction. And it's when you're satisfied, that life flows. Yeah. Beautifully shared, Sachiko. Thank you so much. Wonderful. And Nathalie.
Yes. I'll try to explain it with an example. So I, as a classic builder, as a builder in general, you can really work long hours if you're happy to do it, if it's something you're called to. And then you go to bed really exhausted, but happy, and you regenerate overnight. And the next day you just got as much energy as you really regenerated your battery. So when I was working in former jobs and I needed to finish something, it's the mind chatter. So it's the mind construct that says you need to finish it because you promised it, exactly as Kris was sharing. Then I would go on and late at night and trying to finish it and send it out, and I would go to bed exhausted, but I wouldn't wake up regenerated. But I would usually move into burnout in the end, because it wasn't something I was called to do. It was something I felt I should do, I needed to do because it was expected of me or something. So now, in doing what I do now, which I love, so I love teaching, for instance, and there was this one class in the second foundation semester, which is a subject that is quite going deep to explain where it comes from, but trying to make it logical, trying to make it simple, accessible for foundation students to understand how it is constructed, where it comes from, to be able to understand, the background of it. I redid this class and I was just anxious to redo it. So I did it way before the class actually was taught. And then I worked on it for over 12 hours straight. I almost forgot to eat. I did have dinner, I did have lunch, but I didn't eat anything in between. And I was exhausted, like at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning. But going to bed with a big, big smile. I was so thrilled about what I had created, what I had perfected, what I had mastered, able to, in my eyes, to put it into words and into explanation that it was accessible for the students, that I went to bed. And the next day I just, I wake up happy and cheerful, still with my big smile, that I did work on that the day before. So it is really about the quality of using your energy that makes it either satisfaction or frustration. Well, the former one was frustration because, I'm frustrated to do it, and, you need to do it because it's required of you or whatever, but not happy to do it. So I hope that helps in kind of an example of differences on this aspect.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. It's beautiful. Yeah, I have a story about that too. It's very very interesting. This kind of also ties into the decision-making strategy as well. I was working on a friend's website, and she had this whole list of things that she wanted me to do. And I said, just like what Kris was saying, there's a deadline and you said you were going to do it. And so, I told her I would get done by this date. And every time I sat down to do it, it was like, I didn't have the energy to do it. I didn't want to do it. I was feeling guilty. I tried to force myself to do it. And it just wasn't flowing. It just wasn't working. So it was really, really frustrating. And I was, again, all that mind chatter of I really should, to be in integrity. I promised her. And what was very interesting is the day before it was due, she called me and I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to tell her that I'm not going to get it done in time. She called me and she literally changed everything. She changed everything that I was going to do. She's like, I've been thinking about it and I'd like to change this and this and this and this and this. And it was amazing because I did not have and if I had done all of that stuff and forced myself to do all of that stuff, I would have had to redo everything. But again, following my gut and following like what I had energy to do or not, and waiting for clarity, I just couldn't do it. I didn't have the energy. Remember, if you're a builder, you have the energy resource defined. So it's how you use your energy. And I didn't have the energy to do it. She called me. She changed everything. And literally, boom, 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 boom. I got everything done that evening. And I had it done by the time I promised. And it was that easy. When there is flow, you're on the right track. When it is difficult, you're not on the right track, or you need to wait, or your mind is making the decision. So for me personally, when stuff is not flowing, and this is, what our other panelists were talking about as well, when things aren't flowing, it's like either I'm not doing it the right way, or I'm trying to force it, or I need to wait for more information. So it's about waiting. And so really part of the key of being a classic builder is waiting, especially if you have emotional intelligence defined. It's about waiting. It's about waiting to respond, waiting for clarity, or waiting to respond and following your gut. It's that waiting, and that waiting gives you additional information. Yeah, Kris.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump. I love what you were just saying and pointing out that frustration isn't necessarily a sign that we are off track. It's that we have a construct about what needs to happen when in the world, and that frustration is actually a signpost that lets us know the energy isn't available for you yet. It's not ready yet. Don't come in here. The door is shut, if you will. And I think that also has been really helpful to me. And remembering that if we're step by step by step, that oftentimes things need to be renegotiated. You've said this before, Karen. It's like, especially with gut instinct, yesterday it might have been a no on the sacral, and then today it's a yes, because we're following the energy step by step by step. I think this is where people get really bogged down in what is integrity. I'm out of integrity. Being in integrity means being in integrity with yourself and your design first, and understanding how that gets expressed in the world. And then you'll be in integrity with others. And and anyway, that's that frustration satisfaction too. So simple, but huge.
Exactly. And that's a really good point as well. And now I just lost my train of thought. But the whole piece of oh shoot, I forgot where I was going to go with this.
Is it the frustration that's a sign from outside you, or?
Right. A couple things. First of all, with frustration as a signpost, it's kind of like not making things wrong if there's frustration.
Right.
It's kind of like this navigational system. It's like you're always going to be going back and forth between frustration and satisfaction. You'll never be 100% in satisfaction. There can be times that you can be 100% in frustration, but it's always kind of going back and forth, and it's just signposts. And again, it's not necessarily that you're off on the wrong track. It is that that the timing's just not right, because it gives you not only the right decision, but also the right timing as well. Oh, here's what I was going to say. I had someone, this goes back to one of your points too, Kris, as well. I had someone who said, I was asking, I forgot specifically what I was asking. I said, well, do you want to, I'm just going to make something up, do you want to do that? We were trying to figure out or schedule something. And I was saying, well, do you want to do that webinar on this date or not? And she said, oh, well, it was like we had talked about it and scheduled it a month ago. And a month ago, she said, well, a month ago, it was a yes. It was a gut yes. So I'm just going to go with a yes. That's not correct. Your gut operates in the moment. Is it correct for you now or not? And so this is, again, it's always being present to, as Kris was talking about, that step by step and making sure that it's in the moment. Is it a gut yes or a gut no? And if it's a gut no, it doesn't mean a no forever. It means a no for now. And so somebody may ask you that tomorrow and it may change. But again, it's not only the decision, it's the right timing as well. The same thing with emotional intelligence too. That clarity not only gives you the right decision, it gives you the right timing also. Yeah, beautiful. All right, well, let's get all of our panelists on. And I just want to see if there are, before we wrap everything up, I just want to see if there is any questions for any of our panelists or anything that anyone else would like to say or share. And I think we can try maybe promoting you as a panelist if you want to be, if you're camera ready and want to do that. If not, you can type it in. I don't know if there's been any questions as we've gone along.
Yeah, there's just a question coming in right now from Charan. So how and where does a BG5 reading differ from a foundation reading? I know this can have a long answer, but would it be possible to summarize it?
Yes. Do you want to do that or do you want me to?
Well, Jiren, I can have a conversation with you about all the differences, but it differs in a few aspects. We also look, besides looking at just the design and besides the language, which is more practical and more accessible, and really what I found as a big difference between human design and BG5 is that I finally got it. And this is also what I experience with clients. They go like, oh, that's what it means, or that's how I'm supposed to do it, or that's, So the language is a bit different. And in BG5, we have the BG5 career design analysis. And in that, there's also, we also look at what is your work setting, where do you best fit? And this is really BG5 information. So are you best fit to work alone, to work in teams, to work in partnership, to work in large organizations? And what are your business skills that get pulled out of you? So, well, you're familiar with the term Penta, so it comes down to Penta and other things. So that's a bit of a difference. And what we try to do is not just to read your design, but give practical solutions to the questions you're struggling with, either, in work, which we are mostly looking at, but you are just your holistic self. So your work goes along with your personal life, and sometimes it's interrelated, or sometimes it is personal to be able to work better with ease of mind. So that's really what we do, and we train our consultants, but everybody can do it him or her own way, to do it with a presentation. And I find I'm really a visual person. I find it so helpful to have this presentation also being a kind of report that the person gets along with the video or the audio that you make, so they can go over it again. And it was helpful for me when I got my first BG5 reading from Karen. So yeah, that's a small summary. I don't know if any of you want to add, but yes. And Jiren, we can have a conversation, so no problem.
And one thing to clarify, in BG5 there is no such thing as a reading. We don't do readings in BG5. So in BG5 we do overviews, we do analysis, we do consulting. I think Nathalie did a beautiful job of explaining kind of what the difference is. And one of the big differences also is that we spend less time in trying to teach people about quote unquote their design, and more time taking a look at what is your problem and how can we solve it. Yeah. Anything else, Marije, Sachiko, or Kris, you'd like to add? No?
Okay.
All right. Awesome.
There's another question from Lisa. Lisa Sparrock. I think we know her. So with such a small role in the business world, how can I, as an evaluator, utilize my BG5 knowledge versus traditional human design?
Yeah.
So as an evaluator?
As an evaluator. And that's the small role she's referring to. Yeah.
Your small role, when it's correct, is actually a really big role. If you can work in the correct type of environment, and again, this goes a little bit more in, the answer is a little bit longer and a little bit more in depth, but if you are in the right environment, and you are, one of my students talked about evaluators being super advisors, like really being able to see the big picture. So especially in larger organizations and groups, you can be incredibly, incredibly, incredibly valuable. And I think as times, change and there's going to be more and more emphasis on that. And if you can own your uniqueness and you can have that unique place within an organization or a business, it's really huge. Like I said, it's a little bit more than than what I can say, just in a few short sentences. But
Karen, can I respond to that?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I actually worked with an evaluator who is a CEO at a big company, and he has it set up in such a way that he actually had to laugh when I told him, you need a lot of space for yourself, a lot of time to make decisions. And he was like, oh, it made so much sense. And he had set up his environment in such a way that he had his own office really away from the rest, where he would just go out and he would have specific moments where he would really touch base with his whole team, but he would have a lot of space just for himself to really do his overview. And I remember one time he had an issue with his board members, and he came to me about, I have this environment that is toxic for me, because he felt that the board members that he had, there was just such an inconsistency and inintegrity there. And we talked about the decision-making process, because he was, thinking about firing them, which would have a big effect on the investments and all these other things. So we talked about the decision-making process of waiting for 28 days. And the funniest thing is that he came back to me and he said, you know what, I did that, and they actually fired themselves. They actually left.
Wow.
So it was just perfect. So as an evaluator, you have such an amazing insight in so many different systems that as a builder, I would never see. Stay with your power. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, when you own your uniqueness, that role is not a small one, not at all.
And just for Lisa, we're doing this career types, how to access your natural power. It's a series. So we've done the Express Builder in June, I believe, and we're doing the Classic Builder now, but we will go over all the types, and evaluators probably will be the last one because it's such a big one. So stay tight, and please come to our evaluator one as well, because that's where we really talk about your design.
Yeah. Beautiful.
There's another other question. So can any of you say anything about Penta and Wa in relation to being a classic builder? I know it's very specific to the individual and to who's actually in the group, but are there any general themes you can speak about?
Yes, as far as Penta and Wa. So for those of you who are new and don't know what Penta and Wa means, Penta is a small group, about 3 to 5 people, and Wa, or OC16, is a larger group or a larger organization. Just in general, businesses are built for builders. So, this is where we can find, and again, it depends on someone's design, whether they feel comfortable in a small group or a large group or in partnership or solo. But in general, builders are built to work in teams. Builders are built to work both in Penta and Wa. And so both in small groups and in large organizations. Again, there's a lot of details as far as other pieces of your design. And so it's not all builders are comfortable in small groups, and, not all builders are comfortable in larger organizations, but that's just the general answer. Anything anyone else would like to add?
One of the things that I'm just looking at some of the questions that people are asking. I was able to answer a couple of them. One of the things that I think is really helpful for all of us to remember with human design and BG5 is that there's no hard and fast rule about any of it. And that it really does come down to trusting your decision-making strategy and what you know about your design. And that, because some of those questions are really, really specific and taken out of context, if we were to give you an answer, wouldn't actually serve you. I think that it's one of those things where it's like, we want to know exactly here, but there's no hard and fast rule because there's all these dynamics. And that's what I love about this body of work, is that there aren't any sort of, hard and fast rules about any of it. Each one of us is so unique. That said, there's such a beautiful wealth of information. And in the foundation course, Nathalie just finished teaching that, did an amazing job. There's so much information that you can get and start to discern and piece some of this stuff together for yourself. That said, I highly, highly recommend doing at least a career design overview, if not a full analysis. That's where you're going to get the most answers for you and the most specificity for you. And maybe it's a partner or your family or your business or whatever, that you just, that's not kind of how we can answer all that and really serve you, I think, in this. And so anyway, that's my little 2 cents for for that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely right. Because, this is what makes human design and BG5 the most powerful assessment tool on the planet, is because it's not like any of the other assessment tools where they put you in a box. You are this, and this is the way you operate. What it is a combination of all these different things. So your type is one piece, but there's the decision-making strategy. There's the strengths that you have. There's the qualities that you have. It goes on and on and on and on. And so, as Kris was speaking to this, there's deeper and deeper levels and layers of this that, get more specific to who you are. And that's what makes the system so brilliant, is because, you can't say something across the board and put people in cubby holes, because we are so unique and we are so different. Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah, I see that, Joe, you have your hand raised, but unfortunately we're new with this system and we do not know how to unmute you. I don't know if you can type in your question, or otherwise, yeah.
Yeah. And we're just about ready to wrap up here. So I just wanted to also let you know that if this is something that you would like to learn more, so, Kris was talking about doing an analysis if you want to, understand yourself better, and so you can work with any of us in getting to know yourself better. We also have an opportunity if you are interested in the BG5 Foundation course or interested in the certification. We do have an upcoming webinar next week to learn more about the BG5 Foundation course and the certification course. So that will go more into kind of the details of what's required and what the courses are and what to expect and all of that. So that is available. It's How to Invest in Your Success with BG5. So that's next Tuesday, August 21st. It's going to be at 10 a.m. And you can go to bg5businessinstitute.com/success to be a part of that webinar, just to get some more information if you're interested either in the foundation course or the certification course or both. We also have a couple of specials that are happening. This is where we're going to talk more about the specials, so I'm not going to talk about them now, but I just wanted to, if you wanted to get a preview of the specials that are available until August 24th, both of them are bg5businessinstitute.com. You have C1 special for certification, semester 1 special, or F1 special, which is the foundation semester 1 special. So if you want to, if you're curious, if this has piqued your interest, if you want to participate in the foundation course or the certification course, check out the packages. There's a lot of information there. So again, that's what we're going to be talking about here in How to Invest in Your Success. So you get all of the details and you can get your questions answered. But that will give you kind of a preview of what's included if you want to get one of those packages. Also, again, there's reports, there's overviews, there's analysis. So these are all ways that you can get to learn more. Whether you want to learn it for yourself personally, just to tap into your own personal power. And again, that's where you can take advantage of the foundation course, or whether you're a coach or consultant and you want to utilize this with clients, then we have the BG5 certification course. So again, invite you to participate in those as well. And Nathalie, could you do me a favor and just copy and paste? Oh, maybe you can't copy and paste. If you could put those links in maybe I can copy and paste.
Sorry.
Put those.
Which links? Oh, these links.
Oh, yeah, the bg5businessinstitute.com/success.
Yeah.
Or C1.
I see now we have, so we're new with the system. So there's also a Q&A box. So Joe was typing in his or her questions, which I didn't see. So what's the difference in reaching clarity and feeling one's body between, we have had that. Oh, who have their emotions split from their sacral and the ones that are directly connected.
Yeah, that one's going to be a bit more of a detailed question. So I would either recommend, again, that's something that we do talk about definitely in the foundation course, or connecting with one of us directly. It's a little bit more of a more drawn out question or answer, I should say.
Yeah. All right. And there's another detailed question. I'll answer it. And Anne says, thank you, Kris. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. So what I would like to do is just wrap everything up. We've come to the end of our time. Actually, we were planning on an hour, but it's gone an hour and a half. So, so let's go ahead and wrap up. And what I'd like to do is just with each of our panelists, if there's any last things that you would like to say or share specifically about what it is to be a builder, or how people can best relate to you as a builder, or anything that you want to share just to help people understand you as a builder better, or anything else that just kind of comes to mind that you would like to just wrap things up with. Who would like to start? You want to start, Nathalie?
So yeah, the most important thing is to know how to listen to your gut, I think, and how it operates. So if you're not familiar with it, just have someone else ask you yes/no questions, so you can feel your gut response in your, your bottom belly, and you'll really feel drawn to something or pushed back. And once you know how it feels, you are able to to get into your flow and just experiment with it, because the only way you can learn to trust it is to experience that it works. So I think that's what I want to say.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes, and that is really, again, I think really beautifully said, Nathalie. It's really about, experimenting. It's about trusting. It's about feeling and knowing, how that response works. Knowing that you have to wait, and so not trying to get, not trying to force things to happen, but waiting for things to come and really allowing yourself and getting in tune with that gut response. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Nathalie. How about you, Sachiko?
Yes, I just want to say that trust yourself and allow yourself to do what you love. That is follow your gut response, not the mind. Mind always think this and that, and put you in the wrong mm, wrong road, or yeah. So just trust yourself and
Yeah.
do what you love.
Beautiful and amazing advice. Yes. Do what you love and love what you do. That is really the key. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Sachiko. And Marije. Whoops.
I love that picture. Yeah, I echo what both Sachiko and Nathalie are saying with doing what you love and following your gut, and also feeling into the feelings around it, at least for me, being emotionally defined. It's really clear if you're wading through molasses, if you feel that you're pushing, if you feel hurried, that's just showing you that at that moment you're not using your energy in the best way. And then just stopping, waiting for responding to whatever is next, even though it's just a small thing that you could start responding to. Once you start getting more of that internal, yes, let me just go have lunch. And then after lunch, then I'm responding to doing the next thing that's on my plate. If it comes from that comfortable response, that really internal yes feeling, like your energy is available for it, then life just opens up. It just flows and there's more ease. Doesn't mean that everything's always smooth, but you're more engaged. Just feels much better.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Thank you, Marije. Perfect. Yeah, so following your gut, doing what you love, allowing things to come to you, that you're in the flow and that you're engaged. And Kris.
I'm gonna. I love that. I was so engrossed in what everybody's saying, doing what you love, loving what you do, and just being in the moment. I think it's that being in the moment. Of course, it's fantastic for all the different types, but as we are the builders and we are the energy, we're the ones who bring the energy and contribute the energy. I heard once that it's like the energy that we have as builder types or generator types is the energy that has the sunrise and the moon set and flowers open. I mean, it's huge. It's so powerful. and to hold that with respect and not become a slave to other people, what they want or what they think you should do, or even what you think you should do or think you should want, but truly honoring the amount of energy and capacity you have and the contribution you are, and holding that as a precious thing, and that being present with that and what you're called to in the moment will really start to bring that satisfaction in a way that nothing else will.
Beautifully, beautifully, beautifully said. Love it. Yeah, and I'm going to go to this slide, and if I can have all of the panelists show your videos again. You know, and another thing that Nathalie said as well is, you know, when interacting, yes, no questions are often the best. So if you are not a builder, knowing how to ask builders the correct questions so they can properly respond is important as well. All right. Well, I want to just do a huge shout out and a huge thank you to each and every one of you. It has been, I love what each of you has said. It's an amazing contribution, and really thank you for taking the time and sharing. I hope everyone got a lot out of the discussion. Again, if you have if you have additional questions, please feel free to reach out. Would love to be able to see you in the foundation courses or certification courses, or again, if you want to work one-on-one with any of us as well, to connect with us and really get to know and understand your own career design. So thank you. And what we're going to do, and this is what we do when we, except I can't unmute everybody. I don't know how to do that. Can't do that here. Typically in the GoToWebinar, I mute everyone and hear everybody say goodbye, but I'm not quite sure how to do that here. So I just really want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank this amazing panel for everything that you've shared, and really, the opportunity to live truly satisfied, as a classic builder, doing what you love, loving what you do, following your gut, following your passions, honoring who you are, and really allowing life to flow. That is the beauty and the magic of being a classic builder. So thanks, everyone. And for all our panelists, if you want to unmute yourself, we'll have you all say goodbye. And hope to see you all again soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.